Well, maybe losing to Georgia Southern wasn't the worst thing after all. After losing 45-42 in yet another one-score loss on Saturday night, Nebraska finally decided to cut ties with head coach Scott Frost, putting an end to a disastrous tenure with the Cornhuskers. We'll talk about the firing and what this means for Nebraska moving forward. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'll be posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe if you're a college football fan. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Now, Scott Frost being fired doesn't necessarily come as a huge surprise, as it was likely going to happen at some point this season. The timing of this, though, is certainly a bit shocking, as his contract buyout would have been only $7.5 million if they cut ties with him after October 1st. Instead, they'll pay him a buyout of $15 million. But my guess is that Nebraska just wanted to end this relationship as soon as possible, as opposed to saving more money by holding on to him for a few more games. As I mentioned, they lost to Georgia Southern last night, even though they were a 3-touchdown favorite. Nebraska moved to 1-2 on the season, and honestly, they could have been 0-3 as they didn't pull away last week until the fourth quarter. Following the game last night, they were fire Frost chants, and most of the college football world was wondering if this would be it for him. Trev Alberts, who's the vice chancellor and director of athletics for Nebraska, issued this statement today. Earlier today, I met with Coach Frost and informed him we were making a change in the leadership of our football program effective immediately. Scott has poured his heart and soul into the Nebraska football program, both as a quarterback and head coach, and I appreciate his work and dedication. After the disappointing start to our season, I decided the best path forward for our program was to make a change in our head coaching position. Associate head coach Mickey Joseph will serve as our interim head coach for the remainder of the 2022 season. Well, with Mickey Joseph named the interim head coach, the Huskers can now begin an extensive coaching search as they hopefully are able to find the right man that can lead this program in the right direction. Sadly, things just weren't turning around for Scott Frost, as he was 16-31 during his time with Nebraska. His winning percentage of .340 was the second worst among Nebraska coaches who have lasted more than 4 years. Not only that, he's just simply been one of the worst coaches at the entire FBS level since he took over at Nebraska. During the offseason, Frost had 4 offensive assistants fired and took a pay cut. He also had his buyout drop from $15 million to $7.5 million for October 1st. Now, I think everyone had that October 1st date circled on their calendar if he couldn't turn things around. The Huskers opened the season as a 14-point favorite to Northwestern, but they lost by 3 points in Ireland. Then they struggled against FCS opponent North Dakota, but they ultimately pulled away in the fourth quarter last week. Then, last night against Georgia Southern, as a 3-touchdown favorite, they allowed 645 yards of total offense and allowed them to score 45 points. During the offseason, I posted a video where I read my hottest takes entering the college football season. One of them was that Nebraska would get off to a hot start because of their relatively easy schedule. I said that they had a chance to start the season going 7-0 or maybe 8-0. Well, I was way off, as I didn't expect them to start the season 1-2. When Scott Frost was hired by Nebraska years ago, he was one of the biggest coaching names in the free agent market. He had taken over a UCF program that went 0-12 in 2015. Fast forward 2 years later, he led the Golden Knights to a 13-0 record with a Peach Bowl victory over Auburn. He completely turned UCF around, and many people believed he would do the exact same at Nebraska. It was supposed to be an incredible reunion, with Frost returning to his home state and the school that he played quarterback for and won the 1997 national championship with. He was a Nebraska legend, and the entire fan base was pumped with the hope he'd take them to numerous Big Ten championships. Frost was signed to a 7-year deal worth $35 million, but ultimately it ended in disaster. He finished under 500 every season, with his best year coming in 2019 when they won only 5 games. The crazy thing is, it wasn't like Nebraska was getting blown out game after game. They were essentially in most games, and things could have looked a lot differently had they won a few close ball games. 22 of his 31 losses were decided by 8 points or less. He lost both games this season by a combined 6 points, but things just weren't getting any better. He lost 8 of 9 games to close last season and 2 of 3 to begin this season. The Frost era was the worst in Nebraska since Bill Jennings went 15-31-1 in the 5 years before they had a few Hall of Fame coaches. During the time of Nebraska's reign, they had 5 national championships and 22 conference titles. But ever since Tom Osborne retired in 1997, Nebraska hasn't won a conference championship since 1999, and they haven't won more than 5 games since 2016. Scott Frost was 10-26 in Big Ten games, and even worse, he went 6-18 against Western Division opponents. His teams never won more than 3 conference games in a season or finished higher than 5th place in the 7-team Western Division. It really is incredible that he was once viewed as one of the top coaches in the entire country, and now he's considered to be one of the worst. What sucks more is the fact that he was considered a Nebraska legend upon arriving, but I'm sure a lot of Nebraska fans have much different opinions of him now. I'm not exactly certain what direction Nebraska goes in next. I'm sure they're going to have some solid candidates, but a new coach is really going to have to decide if they're willing to take on this challenge. Maybe it was just a Scott Frost problem, and a brand new coach can bring back the Nebraska of old. I'm not sure who the final candidates are going to be, but this is probably going to be the most intriguing coaching hire of the entire college football offseason whenever they get to that point. I know a lot of people like to joke about Nebraska being the greatest 3-win team of all time last season, but I do think this is a Nebraska team that is better than their record says. I don't think they're a team that's going to be competing for the Big Ten, but I think if they have the right coaching staff, this can easily be a team that wins 7 to 9 games. So maybe if they're able to get the right coach, this is a Nebraska team that can flip things around and be an 8 or 9 win team as early as next season. I do think they have the talent at this program currently, but again, at the end of the day, it just falls on the coach. I'm also very interested to see where Scott Frost ends up next. I don't think he's going to get a head coaching gig immediately, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him go to a pretty decent program as an offensive coordinator or an offensive analyst or something along those lines. And then a few years down the road, maybe he becomes a head coach again, and maybe with a brand new program, he's able to turn things around and really flip his career around. Again, I know the Scott Frost era in Nebraska didn't go as planned, but you do have to feel bad for the guy. Like I mentioned, this was a Nebraska legend who came back home and thought he would be the savior and turn things around. Being the most hated man in the entire state and being hated by the entire fan base certainly can't feel good for him at all. So while things didn't go as planned, I do kind of feel bad for the guy. So hopefully he's able to get another coaching gig soon, and like I mentioned, hopefully he's able to turn his career around. So what are your thoughts on Nebraska finally deciding to fire Scott Frost? Do you think they should have given him more time, or was this the perfect time after the awful start to the season? Also, who do you think would be a good replacement? I'd love to hear some potential coaching suggestions from you guys down in the comment section. Before you guys leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'll be posting college football videos every day during the entire college football season. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.